You don't need premium currency to have fun in the game. Well, that's subjective. In today's video, I'm going to talk about a free-to-play MMORPG that's coming out this month on January 25th of 2022. Chapter markers below, and the servers will be opening up around 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, personally, anytime I hear of a free-to-play game, especially ones in the RPG category, I'm always very skeptical, and I will talk about that aspect of the game towards the end of the video. You definitely don't want to miss that part, so make sure to stick around. But with that said, this game still definitely caught my attention, and it's not like any other MMO that I've ever seen before. Shout out to Sir Medieval's channel for making me aware of this game. Let's dive right in. Like I mentioned in the intro, Broken Ranks is coming out on January 25th, but you should be able to download the game's client from their own website, brokenranks.com, on January 18th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The game is releasing on PC, but their website also says that it's soon to come to Mac, iOS, and Android. Many of you also know that I'm not really a fan of any mobile game, but I also think I need to just accept and start to understand that mobile gaming technology is getting better. So just because a game can be played on a mobile device doesn't mean that the game is trash, even though there's probably a fairly high percentage chance that it is, at least in my experience. I should mention though that the company behind this game, called Whitemoon, has said that the PC version is first, and it's their top priority, which is nice to read. So what is Broken Ranks? Broken Ranks is a low fantasy MMORPG. That's hard to say. MMORPG, it's a bit of a tongue twister. And as you can see, the game uses an isometric view. Combine that with the game's visual appearance, and you get a game that does look similar to many of the classic RPGs in the past, such as Baldur's Gate. The graphics are probably not going to be for everyone, but honestly for me, this is one of the primary reasons as to why I started looking into it. This looks like a world that I would love to explore, and from some of the beta gameplay, the world appears to be quite large. Over on the game's website, it says, a multitude of players, alone or in a party, explore cities teeming with life, cloud-covered mountain tops, forgotten ruins full of mysteries and dread, and many other lands. To summarize the basic gist of the story, you're basically a refugee who is forced to leave your homeland, and you now find yourself in a new world. In this new world, you need to find your strength to restore what the invaders took from you. This game is said to have a mature narrative, which I think a lot of you guys on my channel like, and you will be taking part in decisive moments that forever change the shape of the world. I don't know exactly how all of the MMO aspects are going to work in this game, but from the videos that I saw, you can see quite a lot of other players running around the world. The max party size appears to be 5, but that of course could be subject to change. There will of course be plenty of PvE content, as that does seem to be the main focus of the game, but there will also be some forms of PvP. There's supposedly going to be PvP spots in the game that are in the open world that are marked with red or black, and when you fight other players, it will enter you into turn-based combat just like with the PvE content. And that brings us to the combat. But make sure to stick around, because at the end of the video, like I said before, we're going to talk about the cash shop and stuff like that. I know there are a few turn-based MMOs out there, such as Atlantica Online, but it's certainly not a common appearance. When you enter combat in Broken Ranks, which seems to be done by walking up to a hostile creature and clicking on them, the game then transfers you to a combat arena that of course takes on the visual appearance of the area that you were in before you got into the fight. Players then will plan their movements at the same time, and they only have 10 seconds to do so. So when attempting to defeat the more challenging enemies in the game, you're going to not only need good cooperation, but also somewhat of a quick reaction time. If you take a look at the bottom of the screen, you can see 5 large circles, or they're kind of circles, and each circle here represents a type of action that you can take. I don't exactly know how all of this works, but it appears as if your character gets to do 5 attacks in one round of combat. So you could choose 5 sword attacks, 1 in each circle, and then when a round of combat commences, your character will attempt 5 sword attacks in that round. You can of course mix those 5 attacks up and have some of them be ranged attacks, or perhaps some of them can be spells. It all depends on your class and the types of enemies that you're facing. You'll also notice the number 12 above the circles, and this represents your action points. You get to assign 12 action points to your attacks and defense options per round of combat. The more action points that you put into an attack, the better chance that they have of landing. And if you put some of your action points into your defense options, which are the 3 bars below the circles, this will give your character a better chance at defending against certain types of enemy attacks. The first defensive bar represents enemy melee attacks. The second one is enemy ranged attacks. And the third one, I don't actually know, but I'm guessing it has something to do maybe with magic defense. So if you were fighting against an enemy that had a super powerful, crazy looking morning star, you would likely consider putting some of your 12 action points into the melee attack defense bar to increase your chance of evading those morning star attacks. But remember, you'll also probably need some of those action points to power your own attacks as well. Now, like I said before, you and everyone else only have 10 seconds to choose all of this each round of combat, and this is where presets can really come in handy. You can quickly change between up to 4 presets by clicking on the Roman numerals to the left of the circles. And then hopefully you only have to make a few adjustments each round of combat, or perhaps none at all. Now, there's a lot more to the combat than what I just gave you, but hopefully that gives everyone a quick idea as to how it generally works. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, classes, of which there will be 7 in this game. The first class is the Knight, and the Knight is guided by honor and the strength of their weapons. They're natural-born commanders, always leading, supporting, and protecting their fellow Tyrrhenians. They're most powerful in larger battles where they can boost their companions' morale and protect them by redirecting some of the damage to themselves. So this is obviously probably the most tanky class in this game. The next class, and a really cool looking class, is called the Sheed, and they are valiant warriors who fight using various techniques and their agility. Their weapons are powerful knuckle dusters and combat gloves. As you can see here in the picture, it looks pretty awesome. Sheeds study ancient combat techniques that allow them to better control their bodies. They're melee combatants who weaken their foes by attacking their vulnerable spots. This looks like it's going to be a pretty popular class. And the next class is pretty self-explanatory, which is the Archer, and the Archers use precise, accurate shots to weaken their foes. After that, we have the Druid, and I'm not sure if this is the only healing class, but it's definitely the primary healing class. And in the description, it says that they're excellent healers who understand the language of nature and are able to summon its strength to defend themselves. Druids are valuable members of any party due to their ability to heal, but their strikes may prove deadly too. Up next is the Voodoo class, and this class is kind of giving off some warlock vibes. Voodoos know the intricacies and duality of human nature. They can also use its weaknesses for their purposes. They travel the world draining will and life force from their enemies, proving to everyone that the human mind and spiritual energy are powerful tools. Voodoos make their foes easier to defeat by weakening them with surprisingly fast mental attacks. And then we have the Fire Mage, which is obviously your DPS magic user. As lords of the element of fire, Fire Mages can deal significant and extensive damage. I don't think I have to say anything else about a class like this. And last but not least is the Mighty Barbarian with some really sick looking armor. Barbarians are unmatched at wielding two-handed weapons, but they can also use their teeth and head, preferably to smash unsuspecting opponents. Barbarians excel in melee combat, spinning through the ranks of their foes and dealing deadly blows. Barbarians decimate their enemies using heavy weapons in their own bodies. So obviously there's a bunch of more traditional style classes for MMOs, accompanied by a couple unique ones such as the Sheed and the Voodoo. I definitely want to check out both of those classes. All right, now let's head over to the FAQ and scroll down to the reason why this game is free to play. So will I have to pay to play the game? No, all you need to do is download the client from our website. Will there be a premium currency? Yes, we have a premium currency called Platinum that you can spend on various features. However, players are free to trade Platinum between themselves, so you can just buy or get it from other players in exchange for items or gold. This opens many possibilities as there's no need to spend money on the game, a feature that is absent from other MMOs. So what they're basically saying here is that you don't have to buy Platinum with your IRL money, because you can buy it off of other players for items or for gold. All right, now on to the next section. Does this mean that Broken Ranks is a pay-to-win game? I know that most of you, including myself, absolutely despise pay-to-win games. And the devs respond, definitely not. That's some really strong language. You don't need premium currency to have fun in the game. Well, that's subjective. In addition to that, you can buy it or get it from other players. It can be traded like any other item. The main thing you can do with Platinum is change your appearance with various skins. Well, what's the secondary thing you can do with Platinum? So they're trying to say that the primary use of the cash shop is for cosmetics, which, yeah, that's not, it's not really pay to win for most people's definitions. But there are also things you can buy with it that affect the game. What? I thought you guys said it was definitely not pay to win. I'm starting to get really confused here. But spending money on Platinum is never required. Of course it's not required, as long as you're okay with other players spending IRL money to get ahead of you in the game. So I don't get this section at all, because this game does appear to have pay to win elements, and they're saying definitely not, which makes me a little bit worried because it feels dishonest. If I was being generous, I would say that it feels not relatable. The game has pay to win elements. When you can spend your IRL money to buy an in-game premium currency that can buy you things that affect the game, that is pay to win, because the players that don't buy that premium currency, even if they can technically get that premium currency by trading other players with gold and items, they still had to spend the time to get that gold and those items to get the premium currency, while the players using the cash shop don't have to spend the time to do that. They don't have to earn it, and therefore they can get ahead of other players in crafting or spend more time working on their PvP skills and all of that stuff. And to me, that's the definition of pay to win. But whitemoon is trying to say that pay to win is only when that premium currency cannot be traded in the game. So at this point, we still don't know what these things are that will affect the game, but the next paragraph kind of hints towards it a little bit. Since Broken Ranks is frequently compared to other games, including mobile ones, we wanted to dispel some doubts. Dispel them doubts for me, whitemoon. Our item shop doesn't include any items that give players a huge advantage over others. So just going to give you a medium or a small advantage over other players if you pay money, but not a huge advantage. So when you're in PvP and you're playing players that have more disposable income than you do, they're going to have just a medium or small advantage over you. It's not a big deal in a competitive environment or in an MMO, right? Gear can only be gained by fighting bosses, special mobs, or by trading with other players. That sentence is much nicer, but what are the other things that give players a huge advantage? I need to know. Most other items can be crafted in the time. Did you guys already spot what was wrong with this sentence? Most other items. Well, what about the items that don't fall into the most category? Those are pay to win. Enough said. So in my opinion, these are really poorly written answers to these FAQ questions, and it just feels dishonest. I feel like that they could have just been more honest with it and said, well, we have a little bit of pay to win, but there's a way that you can still get the premium currency in game by actually having to save up gold and stuff like that. But they don't really put it like that. They just try to act like the cash shop is definitely not pay to win. And because of that, that's why I feel like I got a little heated during this section. But with that said, I'm still interested in this game. I think the visual aesthetics are really, really, really cool. The turn-based combat is awesome for an MMO, and I do a lot of turn-based content on this channel, so that's pretty cool. I won't be spending a dime in the cash shop, I can tell you that much, but I do want to jump in and just see what it's about. And the fact that I'm not expecting this to be the next MMO that I play for years and years makes me not as upset about the cash shop, because I don't really care about I don't really care about getting ahead of other players or other players getting ahead of me, because I probably just going to jump in just for the initial experience. If you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know below. And of course, I want to hear your thoughts on everything. What do you like about this game? What do you like about the cash shop? What don't you like about the cash shop? Or what do you like about this game without thinking about the cash shop? Because that would be cool too, because I think this game does look pretty cool. I'll catch you on the next one.